Want me to log my work time more accurately using a timer because you think I'm cheating you? Happy to oblige. This happened a while ago, and I've since moved jobs. Basically, every employee in my department was supposed to log their work hours and the project they were working on. When I first joined the company, I noticed that there was an inbuilt timer in the software which you can start-stop to get accurate logs, but I asked my bosses and other employees around, and everyone told me that no one uses it, and everyone fills in the log EOD first thing in the morning next day. I was cool with that, so I started logging my time just like everyone else. Things were fine for quite a while, till I started putting in more and more hours to get work done. Fast forward to that fateful day, I get called by management. They tell me that my logging seems dishonest and deliberately misleading. I got told off saying they rely on these numbers to plan deadlines for the future, only on paper, not in practice, and that I'm cheating the company. They instructed me to only use the timer next day on, and nothing else. I should probably mention that the way our log time till then was rounded down to 30-minute increments, just out of personal preference. For example, if a meeting lasted 45 minutes, I'd more often than not log 30 minutes. On top of that, I used to remove an hour off the top just as an eyeball figure for lunch and smoke breaks, because on AVG that's how long it took. And I should add that everyone, including my bosses, used to log time similarly. The company had trusted us to not be dishonest with it, and generally it worked out fine. Anyway, the day on, I started using the timer for everything. 10-minute briefing? Going in the log. 5-minute company call? Logged. Started eating in 15 minutes instead of 30, cut down smoke breaks from 2 to 1, etc. Basically, I made sure almost every minute between my in and out times would be accounted for. They also maintained a timestamp of all the times someone enters and exits the office, which they combined with the log to check. I made sure I was not being dishonest in any way, and just logging my actual work times. As you can guess, all the 11-hour overtime days piled up pretty quick, and at the end of the month, I got called by management again. My boss and his boss were both there. My boss was furious, demanding to know how my overtime hours had nearly doubled from previous months. I just said I don't know, I'm using the timer just like I was instructed to. I told them to go through my in and out times, my breaks, my deliverables, and when the timer was started and stopped to check if I was being dishonest or not. They sent me away after yelling at me a bit more, threatening termination if I was wrong. Next day, my boss told me to stop using the timer again, and apologized for calling me dishonest. I stopped using it, but I told him that now I knew more accurately how long my stuff takes, so I'll be logging accordingly even if I do so manually. TLDR. Company assumes I am being dishonest with my time logging because of long working hours. Ask me to use inbuilt timer, which actually ends up showing more hours than I was logging before. A lot of higher ups would be astonished how much work is done for free. I am playing with the idea of pulling something like that with my boss because she ain't paying overtime. Agreed. I'm so fucking irritated about the fact that my newish workplace doesn't pay overtime. Cheap bastards. Well then just go home after you've done your time. Why work for free? A working contract is money for time. You can't just remove one side of the equation and expect employees to work literally for free. That doesn't apply if it's a temporary thing in a small company or if you have skin in the game by being related or married to the owners, of course. But in a big company where they could afford to pay people fairly and have redundancies in place to compensate for spikes in working hours, fuck donating money to them.